It can be hard to imagine Aragorn or Boromir without a beard, but I recently read a chapter from The Nature of Middle-earth that dives into this often overlooked topic. So join me and let us together explore the lore of Middle-earth. This topic concerning beards is based upon the last writings that Christopher Tolkien dated to the last year of his father's life. A woman named Patricia Finney once wrote a letter to Tolkien, where she and her friend said that there were certain characters they regarded as beardless. To this Tolkien wrote the following: I replied that I myself imagined Aragorn, Denethor, Imrahil, Boromir, Faramir as beardless. This I said, I supposed, not to be due to any custom of shaving, but a racial characteristic. Tolkien goes on here and says that none of the elves in his world has beards, but he also wrote something different a few years earlier, that elves did not have beards until they entered their third life cycle. Naradonel's father was exceptional, as he had a beard while only being in the early second cycle. And in The Lord of the Rings, Círdan the Shipwright is also described as very tall and with a long beard. So while not being elves, the Númenóreans and Dúnedain still had enough elvish blood in their veins that they didn't have beards. Any element of an elvish strain in human ancestry was very dominant and lasting. This would only slowly receding, like we know it happened with the Númenórean royal descent, in the matter of longevity. Many of the royal houses of Númenor were of half-elven descent, both through Lúthien of Doriath and Idril of Gondor. The effects were long-lasting. This means that none of the Númenórean chieftains of descent from Elros, whether king or not, would be bearded. Elendil was descended from Silmarien, a royal princess that was in line to the throne of Númenor. This means that Aragorn and all his ancestors were beardless. This may come as a shock to many fans, especially if you have watched the films as many times as I have. Denethor and his sons is less clear. Denethor did descend from royal ancestry through Húrin of Emin that was kinsman to King Menadil. Though Denethor was not closely enough related to the kings to claim kingship of Gondor. Still, this meant that he too was beardless due to his Númenórean ancestry. In the case of his sons Boromir and Faramir, another strain can be traced through their mother Finduilas. She was daughter of Imrahil, prince of Dol Amroth, and her brother was Imrahil the Fair. This royal line of Dol Amroth had also elvish strains according to its legends, where they claimed descent from the sylvan she-elf Mithrilas. It is said that Mithrilas became lost in the woods of Dor in Ernil, where she was found by Imrahil the Númenórean, who later married her. And thus elvish blood entered the line of the princes of Dol Amroth. Her son Galador became the first of the long line of princes. Mithrilas also bore Imrahil a daughter named Gilmith, but not long after the birth, she ran away at night and was never seen again. One may think these are mere legends, and that the elvish strain is more a rumour than based upon truth. But Legolas says the following about Imrahil when he meets him: that is a fair lord, and a great captain of men. If Gondor has such men, still in these days of fading, great must have been its glory in the days of its rising. It may not seem significant, but it confirms that Imrahil's elvish genes are more present than the average Gondorian, and thus gives weight to the legends about Mithrilas. Tolkien ends with the note that he doesn't imagine Imrahil bearded either. I really struggle imagining Aragorn or Boromir without beards. But what about you? Do you find the concept weird, or have you always thought of them as beardless?